The deadly flooding in Germany has overshadowed Chancellor Angela Merkel's farewell visit to the United States. She'll leave office in September after years as one of Europe's key political figures. Talks with President Biden focused on climate change and an enduring disagreement over a Russian gas pipeline. Unlike his predecessor, President Joe Biden treated Merkel as a friend rather than foe for her day at the White House.
It's been a long time since the German Chancellor received a welcome this warm in Washington.
Chancellor Merkel back into the White House, where she's been in the Oval Office many times. She's been a great friend. I consider her a personal friend as well as a great friend of the United States.
After the tense diplomatic relationship with former President Trump, both President Joe Biden and Chancellor Angela Merkel stressed the friendship between their two countries.
We will stand up for democratic principles and universal rights when we see China or any other country working to undermine free and open societies. We stand together and will continue to stand together to defend our eastern flank, allies at NATO, against Russian aggression.
But Germany and the US do not agree on how to deal with either Russia or China. The planned gigantic Nord Stream 2 pipeline will bring Russian natural gas into Europe. Washington says the project makes the continent more dependent on Russia and threatens the security of its smaller neighbours like Ukraine. Merkel has long championed the project but played down the differences. We talked about Russia and Ukraine, and in this context also about Nord Stream 2. We've come to different assessments as to what this project entails, but let me say clearly, our idea is and remains that Ukraine remains a transit country for natural gas, and that Ukraine, like any other country, has a right to territorial sovereignty. The Chancellor's farewell tour of Washington began with a breakfast with Vice President Kamala Harris. And later, the Johns Hopkins University bestowed an honorary degree on the former physicist. Merkel's time as German Chancellor may be drawing to a close, but she has left a lasting impression on the US president.
But on a personal note, I must tell you, I'll miss seeing you at our summits. I truly will.
With the Biden presidency, US-German relations are calmer, but big differences remain.
DW reporter William Glucroft is following the Chancellor's visit to the States for us. Hi, William. We heard in that report that differences do remain. So tell us more about how those differences were discussed in these talks.
Good morning, Sumi. There's so many differences in this relationship that have no clear strategy for resolving, as much as they say they want to resolve them and want to remain on a friendly, agreeable path. You have, China, for example. The U.S. sees it as not just an economic threat, but also a strategic and military one. Germany and Europe more broadly basically sees it only as an economic opportunity. You have European and common security and Germany's role there in what it's ready to commit in terms of security and military and defense. Of course, COVID travel. Americans can travel to the European Union, but Germans and other Europeans can't travel to the U.S. There was no clear resolution of that. And of course, the vaccine patent question. Germany wants to go with the COVAX route to get vaccines into lower income countries. And Biden already months ago said he's prepared to waive patents to allow other countries to develop them. So there's just so many things that just didn't really come out in any substantive way in this meeting yesterday.
We saw one of the largest disagreements is still the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and we saw President Biden and Chancellor Merkel issue a warning to Russia to not use energy as a weapon. But, William, do they have a strategy there if Russia does choose to limit gas supplies to Europe?
Right. It's a great example of just how there may be goals and there's ideas and there's general agreement, but there's just no strategy or policy in place for how to actually achieve those things. We know that the United States, that Joe Biden and many European allies are absolutely against Nord Stream 2, given its strategic challenges to Europe, energy security, climate concerns. Germany is pushing forward with it. After a very tense winter and spring where there was threat and, in fact, some sanctions imposed, Biden has backed off, saying, really, it's too late to do anything about it. But the U.S. Congress says, no, these sanctions are not optional. They are law, and they are pushing Biden to actually impose those sanctions. And so it really remains to be seen how that's going to be worked out. But we knew going into this meeting in a background call with a senior White House official, he said already there would be no concrete deliverable on the Nord Stream 2 issue. So we knew going in that nothing was really going to come out of this in a concrete way.
And William, given these disagreements, after September's elections, there will be a new German chancellor. How much could that actually change the U.S.-German relationship?
It's extremely interesting what's going to happen come September and after, when there's going to be a new government in place. Of course, we don't know who's going to be in that government. Polls are looking like it will either be or could be the Greens or Angela Merkel's conservative, the Union coalition, or some combination of that. And each party, based on their platform, kind of aligns with Joe Biden's thoughts and agenda in different ways. The Greens more aligned with Biden's ideas about climate, about human rights, democracy, approaching or confronting Russia and China. And the conservatives are more aligned in more traditional aspects of NATO, of common defense, of military spending, these kinds of things. But really, Germany has a long history of not really stepping up to the plate to meet its global responsibilities as a major power, and has disappointed the United States in many times in many ways. And that could be the result, regardless of the party that wins or the coalition that comes together after September's elections.
William Glucroft reporting for us there. Thank you.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel and US President Joe Biden maintained their disagreement over the contentious Nord Stream 2 pipeline during a visit by Angela Merkel to the White House on Thursday. Both, however, stressed the need for Ukraine to remain a transit land for Russian gas. The US wants Germany to scrap the deal altogether with Russia and has put sanctions on the project. Germany has defended it as economically necessary. Let's take a listen to what the German Chancellor had to say.
We have talked about China, and there is a great common understanding that, firstly, China is a competitor in many areas. That trade with China has to be based on us having a level playing field. That means that the standards are the same. Incidentally, this was a major point of negotiation in the EU-China investment agreement.
And Andrew Adair from the German Engineering Association, VDMA, joins us now. Thank you very much for joining us, Andrew. And it's kind of hard to draw conclusions from this meeting. It seems to simply be a holding pattern on a whole bunch of subjects, Nord Stream, China, and so on. Is Biden just biding his time until Merkel's successor comes along?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yes, in some ways that's true. Although I'd like to first start out by sharing with you the perspective of VDMA, which is we are extremely delighted that there is a sign of progress in the travel ban. The travel ban right now, which has been in effect since March of 2020, prevents travelers from the Schengen area from coming into the United States without a waiver, which they have to apply for. It's a very burdensome process. And last night, Joe Biden indicated that there could be there's a review of this travel ban going on, and that there could be an announcement in the coming days based on the action of his COVID team.
But the lifting of this travel ban is not going to make that much difference at the moment. We're still in the pandemic. We're about to talk about Lufthansa later, and we're seeing that business travel is still extremely low, even within Europe. Is this going to make much of a difference?
Yes. For VDMA, for our member companies, lifting the travel ban will make a huge difference. And it will also make a huge difference for our American clients who, at the end of the day, need their machines and their equipment maintained. They need their equipment installed. These things, they can't order, packaging machines out of a box from Amazon. You need to have a technician fly over and install it. They're extremely complicated, complex technologies. Every few months, these things need to be customized. So there are many examples of production processes in the United States that have been put on hold or that have been stopped altogether because of specific technicians that have not been able to enter the United States.
OK, so it seems that at least we're getting some movement there. But back to Nord Stream, where we're still not seeing any agreement, it seems to have just been kicked into the long grass. Is there any way forward on this? Because both sides just seem to be at opposite ends still.
Yes, I mean, at VDMA, our position is that extraterritorial sanctions are not a good way to conduct business, and so that remains our position going forward.
OK, all right. Thank you very much. Andrew Adair from the VDMA. Thanks very much.
Thank you.